Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Vincent. Hope you guys are doing well. We're going to run through a quick Facebook Live here on a very important subject. We covered this once before. I don't think I got it recorded, though, so I'm going to go ahead and get it recorded so we can also put it up on the podcast and make sure that everybody's got the right information. So what we're talking about today are the three different types of title and why they're important. So before we even get involved in that, what is real estate title? Most people honestly have no idea. Okay. We really need to clarify a huge misconception, because in real estate, title is not, I repeat, not a paper document that conveys ownership interest like it is with a car. Okay. So it's important to understand that. You know, you think of a vehicle. When you sell a vehicle, you pass on a paper title, but that's not what happens in real estate, okay? So what is title in real estate? Title is nothing other than a bundle of rights associated with the property, okay? That's it. It's a bundle of rights that you or somebody else has associated with the property itself, okay? It's not a piece of paper, so understand that. It's rights. That's it. It is nothing other than ownership of the deed or equitable interest in the property or absolute title free and clear of any superior landlord. We're going to get into what that means here in just a second. Okay, so the three different types of title in real estate are: one, you have legal title; two, you have equitable title; and three, you have what's called a allodial title. Okay, most people couldn't tell you the difference in any of these. So the difference, and so you know which one you want, is the answer for that really is it depends. Okay, it really depends on what your objective is, what type of deal that you're doing. So we need to understand first, what are you trying to accomplish? Okay, legal title means you have the deed and equitable interest, except in the case of a life estate, in which case you just have the deed itself. If you guys don't know what a life estate is, I guess we probably need to do a whole nother Facebook Live and podcast and webinar on exactly what a life estate is if you've never been through a real estate licensing course or never actually studied real estate to understand what that actually means. But legal title means, with the exception of life estate, that you have the deed and you have what's called equitable interest or equitable title to the property. Equitable title, also known as equitable interest, simply means you have a monetary bundle of rights associated with the property. So we got legal title, we have equitable title, and we have allodial title, okay? So question I often get asked is legal title the best? And the answer is absolutely not. It's not. Legal title is not the best, although you may have the misconception or perception. Let me rephrase that. You may have the perception that it's the best because you actually get a deed. But I'm going to show you something even better. It's good because you have the deed and equitable interest, but not the best for reasons I'll explain in just a moment. What is the benefit of legal title? And honestly, with legal title, because you have the deed, it simply means you get to stay in the property longer without paying, because you have to be foreclosed on before you can be evicted, okay? That is literally the only benefit of legal title. In other words, where you actually have the deed itself. There is no other benefit, okay? So question I often get asked is, but doesn't legal title and having the deed in my name mean I own the property? No, it doesn't. Not by a long shot, okay? And I'm going to prove it to you here just so you understand. Because, people look at me like sideways when I tell them this. They're like, okay, just because you have the deed does not mean you own the property, because you don't, okay? You don't understand that because of, they've got people confused on how the system actually works. But you're taking title to real estate. You are not getting ownership of land, okay? If you go back, roll the calendar back 100 plus years ago, if you think about the Wild West days and the cowboys and all that stuff and all the old cowboy movies, you would see that they had a land office in the movies, right? That's where you would go and you would get deed, an actual piece of paper, deed to the property that you owned, right? You don't have those anymore, okay? Because they're not dealing in land. They're dealing in real estate, which is completely different than land. Okay. So what the hell does that mean, right? What does that mean? What's the difference between real estate and land? Okay. When you get a deed conveyed, you take title to the real estate, not the land. And you don't own it. Okay. You think you do. They tell you that you do, but you do not own it. How do I know? Very, very simple reason. Because you take title as a tenant, not as an owner. Okay. If you guys don't understand what I'm talking about, common examples of how you would take title to a property are, this is the most common one, joint tenants with right of survivorship. This is typically what most married couples, when they buy a house, that's how they take title. Okay. A couple other examples are what's called tenants in the entirety and tenants in common. Okay. So does anybody see the word owner in there anywhere? This is how you're taking title to the property. You're taking title as a tenant, not as an owner. Okay. So you always have a superior landlord and you never, ever own the property. Okay. And it's always that way when you're dealing in real estate. So you need to understand that for what it's worth. Okay. So who is the superior landlord? Because you're a tenant. Okay. Could be one or could be many. Typically it's the county tax assessor, right? And potentially if you're in a homeowners association, it would also be the HOA. These would be two superior landlords that can foreclose on your property and take it away from you because you don't own it. Okay. Now let's talk about equitable title, also known as equitable interest. A lot of people get this wrong because they don't understand, all right? Especially you guys out there doing quote-unquote wholesaling where you get a property under contract and you think that now all of a sudden that gives you the right to market that property and advertise it with photographs and all these other things. And legally, it does not. You need what is called equitable interest or equitable title in the property to be able to legally do that. But that's not what you're getting with a purchase and sale agreement. All that does is provide you the ability to assign that contract. You can market the contract, not the property, okay? Unless you explicitly get equitable interest conveyance in the contract, which is what I do, all right? So make sure that you understand the difference in these things when you guys are out there in the marketplace. Equitable interest and equitable title means that you have a bundle of rights, monetary rights, associated with that property in that contract, okay? So understand what the difference is. Now, this is where it gets a little confusing for a lot of people. You can have legal title and equitable title or just equitable title. And I'll give you some examples here. Okay. Examples of equitable title / equitable interest would be when I do a standard vanilla contract for deed. I don't care about the deed. I don't need the deed. All right. What I want is equitable interest. I want the ability to force production of the deed in the event of a payoff. Okay. And a lot of people go out there and they miss out on deals, especially if they're like in the sub to mentality, subject to. If you guys don't understand, subject to means you're buying the property subject to the existing financing in place, which basically is very similar to a contract for deed, but there's a couple other nuances that where people will actually get the deed and they will be, you'll have a mobile notary recorded at the courthouse and you'll actually be the deed holder and you're paying the note for the seller. The way we do contract for deeds, it's the same, basically the same thing. Except for I don't care what, I'm not going to lose a deal over not getting the deed because I can file a memorandum and protect myself and protect my interest in the property, which I've done before, and I don't have to have the deed. So if you're out there doing any type of creative financing deals, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't lose out on a good deal because you feel like you have to have the deed because you don't need it. Okay. What you need is equitable title, and you need to be able to file a memorandum at the courthouse to protect your interest, okay? And that's, for all intents and purposes, is going to give you all the benefits of having the deed without having to go down that path, all right? Because some sellers, they're just not going to want to give you the deed, okay, until they're completely paid off. And that's fine. I don't care. I just want the ability to force production of a deed on a contract for deed so that once the buyer that I'm selling it to is ready to refinance, we can have that deed, okay, at that point in time, and that then gets conveyed, to me and then to the buyer, okay? So next up would be an option, okay? You can have option would provide you equitable interest as well if it's structured properly because, again, once again, you have a financial interest in the contract. I'm sorry, financial interest in the property. And just like with a contract for deed, if you do have an option on a property, you absolutely want to get a memorandum created and filed to protect your position so that someone doesn't come in and buy the property out from under you. Another example would be a land trust. Okay, land trust would give you a bundle of rights associated with it. A little different. If you've never done a land trust, there's a lot of moving parts with grantors and grantees and beneficiaries and all this other stuff, that trustees and all this stuff that you have to deal with. But it's the same thing. You still have the ability to obtain equitable interest in the property. A mechanics lien. So let's say you are a contractor and you go out and you do some HVAC work, or you do plumbing work, or you do carpentry or roofing or whatever, and they don't pay you. Well, you have the ability to go down and file a mechanics lien. Well, now you have equitable interest in that property because you have filed the memorandum. I'm sorry, not the memorandum, the mechanics lien. Okay? So understand that would be a form of equitable interest. And another form would be a joint venture agreement where you're doing a deal with a joint venture partner, and that would also then provide you equitable interest in whatever deals that you guys are doing, okay? So understand that. That's all you need. You don't have to have the deed to do a deal and to make money, all right? Now, with only equitable title, you have monetary rights associated with the property, but you do not have the deed. Okay, we're talking about only equitable title. If your equitable title rights are properly filed, again, the memorandum, you have protection against fraud and someone selling a property without your knowledge or you getting paid, which I know a lot of you guys are afraid of. Now, if you want to know how to get a memorandum filed, I'll tell you exactly how I do it. I use a mobile notary, okay, because I don't want to go anywhere. And I certainly don't want to go down to the courthouse, and I don't want to have to go anyplace else. Whatever. So I'll have a mobile notary. They will either come to me, or because I do deals all over the United States, what I'll do is I'll go down to the UPS store and I'll have the memorandum notarized by the person, the notary at the UPS store, and then we'll overnight it to the mobile notary in whatever state they're in, and then they'll take it down to the courthouse and they'll get it recorded for me, and then send me proof of that, and then we pay them via PayPal typically, or credit card, whatever. But that's the easiest way to do it. Typically, it runs anywhere from normally $50 to $75. And for me, it's worth every penny because I don't have to wait in line. I don't have to go deal with the courthouse. Very, very simple to do that. If you guys aren't aware of it, easiest way to find mobile notaries, 123notary.com. Okay. It's called 123notary.com. And you can find notaries all over the United States. They'll be able to file your memorandums for you. All right. Side note, properly structured equitable title, you need to buy and, backed up. To buy and control the property and do it no money down like I do, okay? That's what equitable title will provide you the ability to do if you do it correctly, okay? You can actually buy. I've never put money down on any property I've ever bought in 30 years, okay? You don't have to either. You don't need credit. You don't need cash. You don't need anything to do a deal in real estate and make money. Okay, and that's the honest to God truth. I've never put money down on any house. Now, I will tell you this just for clarity, the last home I built, I had a lot of custom work done to the house, and because it was a custom build, number one, I had to put down earnest money when I signed the contract, and then I had to, for every change that we made to the property, I had to pay in 50% of. Like, as an example, we had like $30,000 worth of California closet. It wasn't California, it was closets and more, I think. But California closets, if you guys understand what that is, in the master bedroom and in the kids' rooms and in the pantry, everything was totally built out. So I had to instruct the guy the builder a check for $15,000 to get him to do the work. So he did that because he wanted to make sure that he wasn't putting all the stuff in the property and then we don't close. At least he had 50%. Of the money up front. Now, I got all that money back at closing because I did 100% financing. Okay, so while I did provide funds to bind the contract and also to act as a deposit in sort of insurance policy for the builder for all of the custom upgrades that we did, I got it all back at closing. Okay, so I did not technically put any money down, even though there was money involved because it was a custom build. Now, next question is, equitable title the best? Nope, equitable title is definitely not the best, okay? It's a good thing to have. It is a very useful tool. It's something that you obviously want to get. But the creme de la creme of titles, most of you probably have never even heard of, is called allodial title. Okay, and you'll very rarely ever hear this term or come across anybody that has actually got allodial title. So what is allodial title? It is real property ownership system where the real property is owned free and clear. Pay attention now. Is owned free and clear of any superior or landlord, meaning you're not taking title as a tenant. Okay? In this case, you'll have absolute title over the property. Okay? You understand? I will make sure you guys understand what I'm talking about here. It's called allodial title. Okay? It's not what you get when you go down and you do your standard vanilla closing. This is the only way to get true, free and clear, unencumbered, without a superior landlord, not taking title as a tenant, ownership of land and property in the United States system the way it's set up right now. Okay? Only way to truly own property. And by own, that means you don't pay property taxes. There are no HOA dues. You're not taking title as a tenant. You actually own the property. Okay? Understand that. So how do you get allodial title? Well, that is a spider web of hassle intentionally created so that you can't easily get it. Okay, you have to file for what is called a land patent. Okay, now hang on one second. I gotta move this thing out of the way so I can see, so I can read this to you. It's very fine print. All right, so a land patent issued by the United States is legal and conclusive evidence of title to the land conveyed. That is the opinion of the U.S. Attorney General, September 1869. Remember, we were talking about the Wild West days? A land patent is the highest evidence of title. You already just said highest evidence of title. It's higher than legal title, and it's higher than equitable title, okay? Since land patents cannot be collaterally attacked as to their validity or authenticity as the highest evidence of title, federal land patents were given free and clear allodial title with no encumbrances then and now. Okay? Can you say the same about your land title? No, you cannot. Okay? Patent alone passes land from the United States to the grantee, and nothing passes a perfect title to land but a land patent with no fee or duty, which means tax. Okay? No property tax. How about that? Since a land patent is not a conveyance of title by someone assigning their equity interest over to you, but a land patent is a title at law, which establishes an allodial freehold. Think about that, freehold. That is judgment proof. Okay? Listen, judgment proof and even immune from tax liens. Because get all that? That is what the title that you want, okay? Allodial title. And the only way that you're ever going to get it is through going through the process of getting a land patent. You will not get it from your standard real estate attorney on your normal vanilla real estate transaction. What you're going to get is going to be, again, we scroll back up here. I can find what is it? The three different types of title. There we go. Okay, you're not going to get it with legal title. You're not going to get it with equitable title. Okay, that's when you go to a normal closing. That's not what they're providing. What they're providing you is legal title or equitable title or both. Okay, does that make sense? Hopefully that will make sense to you guys. All right, but you're taking title as a tenant, and the reason that it's set up this way. And nobody likes to hear this, but it's the truth, so to hell with it. The reason it's set up this way is because slaves aren't allowed to own property. Okay? That's the way this system is set up. Now, who are the slaves? Well, those are the bond slaves that pay income tax, right? Not allowed to own property. That's why you take title as a tenant to real estate, not ownership of land with freehold, with no judgments, no property taxes, no liens. That's allodial title. Okay, and that's the reason why if you ever find a place that you actually feel like you want to live for the rest of your life, you want to take it through the process to get the land patent to get allodial title. But they will fight you And I'm going to tell you right now in advance, they will fight you because they don't want to give up that revenue, and they don't want to give up all of the rights associated. Well, they're not really technically their rights, but the rights of eminent domain, property taxes, the whole 9 yards, and try to make you subjected to the zip code system, which most of you probably won't even understand what I'm talking about, the federal zip code system, or the code enforcement nonsense. Okay, so understand it's the highest form of title. There is nothing better in the U.S. than a allodial title, but you will be hard pressed to find, number one, anybody that's ever gotten it, and number two, to actually get one for yourself, because it is a process and a challenge they make very, very difficult, because they don't want you to own the property. They want to keep their thumb on your head, their boot on your neck, and make you continue paying property taxes ad infinitum. Okay, if you guys understand what that means. So there you have it, my friends. That is how, or let me rephrase that. Those are the 3 different types of title in real estate. Now remember, title is not a paper document in real estate. Okay, it's not. It is a bundle of rights. That's it. Not a paper document like it is for vehicles. Okay, so understand the difference. They say, oh, we're going to pull title or whatever it is, and then you get a paper document. What you're getting is a chain of title. Okay, it's not the actual title of the property. You're getting a chain of title where they've gone back, 25, 50 years, depending on how far back the search went, and they're telling you any and all claims of interest in the property during that whatever the search period was. Normally, it's like 50 years, I think, is what they go back. So understand it for what it is. Okay, so legal title means you have the deed, and it also means you have equitable title unless you have a life estate, right? In which case you only have legal title. Equitable title means you have a bundle of rights associated with the property. Those are typically financial, money rights associated with the property in some way, shape, or form. And then there is a allodial title, which is true, free, and clear ownership, judgment proof, no tax liens, no eminent domain, none of that stuff. Those are the 3 different types of title in real estate. So there you go, guys. Hope that was helpful. If it was, do a thumbs up, whatever, all that stuff. And I will catch you on the next one. Oh, and by the way, don't forget the what we've got going on right now with the 3-for-1 mega combo deal that ends Monday at midnight. So for those of you who want to take part in that, and that entails the group JVP, where you actually get to work with me. We've got properties under contract that can be marketed. I actually work with my joint venture partners to close deals. Okay, get on the phone with you. We haven't run that since April. I said I'd never run it again after we ran it the first time, but people have been pleading with me because of the COVID-19 crap that's going on. That's really hurting a lot of people right now. So we've combined the 3 different programs, Virtual Real Estate Investor, the group JVP there. Virtual arbitrage is where we arbitrage medical commodities, which is, cash daily. And then the Cracking the Credit Repair Code program, which you can use to, for yourself, if you have credit, stuff on the credit report that you want to get rid of, or especially valuable for those of you that are working these creative finance deals where it's imperative at some point that a buyer qualifies for a mortgage, because the way that the federal law is set up, anything and everything that you can do from a credit perspective happens in 76 days or less, okay, from under federal law. Most people don't know that. They don't know what the actual law is, how things actually work, and they get sucked into these stupid credit repair programs. When, as an example, I had one client back in 2008 get legally remove 28 derogatory accounts in only 69 days by following the protocols that I have set up, which are based off of federal law, okay? Problem is most people don't know that. So that bundle, it's only $500 one time. There's no monthly fees associated with it like the normal programs. But that is in honor of Veterans Day. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, and we're running it through midnight on Monday. So that's something that you guys want here. Let me go ahead and I'll put the link up real quick, and I will drop it down below. And since this will be going up on the podcast as well, the link is SNAR.ly/mega for mega combo. That's it. Okay. And you guys can sign up for that. We can get you moving forward on actively working real estate deals and actively working on arbitraging medical commodities where you can literally make cash today and make back the $500, either today or tomorrow or over the weekend. Literally that fast if you follow instructions and you take action. Okay. Absolutely fantastic. It's the fastest and easiest money I've ever personally made. Yeah, that's why I've been doing it for the last 6 years. Plus, by the way, here, I'll show you because some of you guys haven't seen this. I've covered this a bunch of times before. The thing with the medical commodity business, the reason I got involved in that, just so everybody understands, is, I lost everything to the tune of about $4.5 million in very ugly and public bankruptcy back in 2007. And it was because I had all my eggs in one basket. I only had one source of revenue, and that was tied to real estate. I was in the mortgage banking, I owned a mortgage company at that point. And I learned a very painful and valuable lesson, and that was to not have all my eggs in one basket. Now, when I was first presented this opportunity on the medical commodity side, I did what most people do and kind of brushed it off because I didn't understand it. I didn't do my due diligence, which was a monumental mistake. And it cost me several $100,000 over the course of a number of months in lost income and revenue that I should have been pulled in had I done my due diligence. But once I finally got the gist of what was going on and the fact that I could do it 100% virtually, where I didn't have to deal with it, and the whole thing is I've got it completely automated in Podio and outsourced with VAs and couriers and joint venture partners, so I don't have to, deal. Basically, it's the patterned after what's called the E-Myth, which is work on the business, not in the business. Absolutely fantastic and life-changing. And the beautiful part about it is, there's a lot of beautiful parts about it, but one of the best things about it is that we all know that there's a real estate bubble, okay? And that bubble's going to pop. When it pops, a lot of people are going to get destroyed just like they did in 2008, all right? But in this scenario, real estate can collapse, and it does not impact the medical commodity business because, or let me rephrase that, it makes the medical commodity business make even more money because now more people are looking for cash, okay? And so what happens is diabetics are still diabetics. They don't stop being diabetics because real estate collapses, okay? So absolutely, it was like, for me, I looked at it as a recession-proof / depression-proof, quote unquote, business that I could operate where I could still generate cash in the event that everything went upside down again in real estate, which of course we all know it's about to do. So, and if you don't, I'm not trying to be negative about real estate. I'm just trying to tell you with all the indicators that are out there and where the market's at and what they're doing, especially with all of these moratoriums on evictions and foreclosures, where you got, guys like me and you, and ladies out there, investors, who are eating payments while somebody's living in their house for free because you can't evict them and you can't foreclose on them, thanks to the overreaching, unconstitutional, I don't even know what it is, mandate by the CDC, who is not even constitutionally manned. I mean, I don't even know how they got to this thing where they can just decide, the CDC, that nobody can be foreclosed on or evicted through December. Okay, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. But nonetheless, that's kind of stuff that they're doing. And, you're going to see a ton of evictions. You're going to see a ton of foreclosures. Right now, see, people don't understand. The prices are rising in a lot of markets right now because there's a tremendous amount of contraction. Well, why is there contraction? Why is the inventory so low? Well, because you got people living in houses that they're not paying for, right? And they can't be evicted. And they can't be foreclosed on, okay? And the courts are backlogged if they're even in session, right? If they're even back into the courthouse yet, depending on what part of the country that you're in. And so they're backlogged. And so what's happened is you've got, people aren't moving. They're not. Well, I'm not saying people aren't moving, but it's not like a normal market because you've got governmental interference. And so the supply that's out there is limited. It's limited. And so what does that do? Well, law of supply and demand, it's causing contraction. It's causing prices to rise in a number of markets. You got, like, I'm here in Florida, in Orlando, and, Orlando, Palm Beach, Naples, a lot of the, Jacksonville, a lot of the Florida metro areas, they're just going through the roof right now because you've got this mass exodus of people coming out of the Northeast. They're trying to get out of New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, et cetera, and Rhode Island and Connecticut with some of all that draconian, tyrannical nonsense that they're doing up there. And where are they coming to? Well, they're coming to Florida. They're going to Texas. They're going to Arizona. You got a lot of people that they come down to all the sunshine states, and that's why you see prices rising in these markets. Now, that's not going to be permanent because eventually, the stranglehold will let go, and when it does, the levee's going to break. And that's what you have to watch out for. Then there will be an absolute flood of inventory on the market, okay? Whether it be through investors getting foreclosed on by the banks because they couldn't hold out long enough, or whether it's just the average person that's out there based on the unemployment rate because they couldn't make their payments. You're going to see a massive influx, just like we did in 2008 and 2009, massive influx of inventory that will hit the market again, except it's going to make 2008 and 2009 look like a picnic. So you got to be prepared for that. And that's the reason, like I said, that I got involved in the medical commodity business, because it's not negatively impacted when that happens. It's positively impacted when that happens. So there's more money to be made, that's when you have multiple streams of income. It's almost like a, what do they call it? Not a money market, mutual fund. Okay. Where you have this basket of income streams that are coming in, and when one's down, the other's up. So you maintain stasis, right? That's ideally where you want to be. Well, preferably you'd like them all to be going up all the time, but that's not reality. So if real estate goes down, and I'm going to qualify that statement here in just a second, but let's assume, quote unquote, real estate goes down. Well, it's going to mean that on the medical commodity side, things are going to go up because people are going to be in greater need of cash. Okay. And so it's the perfect storm for that right now. We got people coming out of the woodworks. So that's why I got involved, because I didn't want to relive 2007, losing everything. No, it's not a pleasant experience, people, and I wouldn't wish it on you. So my advice would be, like you see, all right, so the Dow's down 335 points today. That doesn't change the fact that diabetics are diabetics. We're still making money, okay? Doesn't make a difference whatsoever. I like that, okay? This whole house of cards here called Wall Street and stock market, that's all it is. It's a big house of cards. You might as well, go to Vegas because there really is no difference. If you guys, and by the way, if you guys got 401ks and all that stuff, I would absolutely be liquidating those damn things as quickly as humanly possible. And I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving you financial advice, but I'm just telling you, I got out in 2003 because I saw the writing on the wall and what was coming. So I don't care what is it? What's it down now? 29,000. What's the all-time high? Anybody know? Anybody know what the all-time high is? Let me take a look real quick, because we got to be like right on top of it again. All right. All-time high, where is it? All-time high, here we go. Investopedia, what do they say? Dow all-time high was 29,551.42, February 12th, 2020. Where are we at today? We're at 29,061. So it's about 500 points off. So if you add back in today's loss, it's teetering on the all-time high again. Okay? And you guys need to understand that it's all fake. Okay? You tell me what has caused the value of U.S. companies, especially in the wake of the fake pandemic, to rise. Okay? Now, certainly some companies will have risen through governmental interference, like Amazon, okay? Because now, more people are having to shop online, like the Zoom video platform, because more people are having to do conferences and things like that, go to webinar, go to meeting, all those things. Certain ones would have natively gone up in valuation because of adding new customers and that kind of thing. But as a whole, the only thing that's causing the stock market to be as high as it is right now, okay, is artificial interference by the Federal Reserve through what they call quantitative easing. And what that means in English, if we translate it, it means funny money printing. Okay. So what they've been doing is they've been systemically pumping money, liquidity into the system. And as a result, you've got an all-time, the stock market's at all-time highs. Okay. So there you go. But it's all fake. Okay. Understand that. It's not based on actual valuations truly increasing. Okay. Especially if you understand the multiples and all that stuff. So if you guys are in 401ks or you're in stocks or whatever it is, let me just go ahead and say this. Okay. Oh, here we go. Dow, they just breaking. Dow drops 400 points as rising coronavirus cases raise concerns about economy to end 2020. Yay, more good fear mongering. Love it, right? Again, another reason why you need to be getting out, because the age-old adage is what? Buy low, sell high, right? Well, you're at all-time highs. If now is not the time to get out, when they're telling you, they're forecasting it right here, right? Concerns about the economy to end 2020. And, I'm going to go off on a tangent here for a second. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but you better be paying attention and you better be aware. If this trucker strike, I don't know if you guys have heard, has anybody heard about the trucker strike? You guys have heard about this? If so, leave a comment. There is a planned trucker strike I'm talking about nationwide on November 29th. Okay. And they're talking about doing it for 4 days. Well, you need to understand the impact that is going to have on the supply chain, your local grocery stores. Okay. You're talking about, we have what's called just-in-time delivery. The average grocery store has only enough inventory to survive about 2.5 to 3 days without resupply. Okay. So if no trucks come in for 4 days, you're going to walk into a grocery store and it's going to be completely empty because there'll be nothing left because they haven't been supplied. So understand that and make sure you guys are prepared. Okay. And again, that's one of the reasons why I push the virtual arbitrage and the medical commodity thing so much, because you can generate cash every single day. Even right now, if you have limited funds, you can make your money back quickly and then still generate cash daily so you can start getting stocked up. And I'm not trying to do the fear-mongering thing here. I'm just telling you, it's very simple math. 4 days of no trucks nationwide moving stuff. You got to understand that these guys are the backbone of the U.S. economy. For those of you who don't appreciate truck drivers, just like most people don't appreciate farmers until there's no food. You need to understand the backbone of what's happening. We already have a stressed out supply chain in place right now. And now if these guys actually do this and they go on, and it's all orchestrated, by the way, it's all nonsense. But if they do it, and they cut the supply chain off for a 4-day period of time, man, you're going to see absolute chaos. Okay. I don't know if you guys remember when they a couple of years ago, they did the thing in, I think it was in Chicago. I can't remember exactly. I don't remember exactly. I believe it was in Chicago, but don't quote me on that, where they cut off the EBT cards. You guys know what those are? Basically it's the welfare Visa cards, where the people that are on welfare they take these cards and they buy groceries with them and all kinds of other stuff. And they cut them off, and it was absolute pandemonium. Okay, because people couldn't go buy food. And when there was food, they just couldn't access the funds on these cards at that point in time. You're going to see that probably and worse if these guys actually do what they're talking about doing with this trucker strike. 4 days, absolutely crushing for the U.S. economy, for the supply chain in general, because then it has to try to catch up. And now they're talking about going back into more lockdowns and all this other crazy nonsense. So you guys need to be, seriously, if you're not stocked up, if you don't have multiple streams of income, if you don't have multiple streams of internet income, especially thanks to the lockdown crap, I highly advise you to take advantage of this, very limited time offer. I'm doing it one more time because people keep asking for it because they're struggling. So you're being basically given a gift here and an ability to work virtually from your house, from the beach, from wherever, in multiple businesses. Okay. one being real estate, the other being the medical commodity business, and get yourself and your family in a position so that you don't have to stress out if they lock it down for 6 more weeks or 6 more months. Okay. Because the businesses that I run, knock on wood, God willing, they don't do something else crazy. They're going to survive through, another lockdown. Okay. The way I've got them set up. And that's where you want to be. Now, the average real estate investor that's out there, the local brick and mortar guy, he's going to get decimated. He's going to get absolutely wiped out. So understand it for what it is, and don't let yourself be in that position. That's why I've been doing deals virtually all over the United States since 2007. Actually, longer than that when I was in mortgage banking, but from a real estate investment standpoint, since 2007. All over the U.S., okay? So that's the place you want to be, right? You don't want to be tied to any local brick and mortar micro market. You don't want to be tied to having to have stuff done at title companies, because I don't have to deal with that. You don't want to have to deal with, you can't close the deal because you have to go to a closing, but you can't go to a closing because, they're in lockdown and the attorneys or the title companies aren't open. You don't have to worry about any of those things, okay? The only thing that you have to worry about is whether or not either the banking system or Bitcoin, either one, are still operational, because all it takes is a wire. Okay. You need a buyer, a seller, a contract, and a wire on a real estate deal, and that is it. I don't pull titles, don't need to pull titles for the creative financing deals. It's not necessary. I don't go to closings. Okay. We generate the contracts ourselves, get them executed, and then I get a wire. Okay, and that's it. And that's the situation that you want to be set up in. You don't want to have to be reliant upon appraisers and inspectors and title companies and all this other crazy nonsense in the, quote unquote, traditional, conventional, vanilla real estate investing atmosphere. You need to have a couple more weapons in your arsenal so that if they lock it all back down again, you know what? You still have income coming in. And as many of you saw with the last lockdown, courthouse is not open. Well, you can't go. They can't go down there and pull title. Okay, or maybe some places can because it's online, but for the most part, your abstractor can't go down to the courthouse and go through the records to provide that information to the title company, and you don't want to be in that situation. Okay. Also, courthouse is closing. You can't record. Okay, so get yourself in a position where you can do things 100% over the internet and you're not reliant on third parties. So for the real estate side, the only third parties I'm relying on are the buyer and the seller. That's it. Other than, again, like I said, I need a banking system or a methodology of payment system, whether that's a wire to a bank or Bitcoin or whatever. I need one of those things to be functional and operational. Since you can do peer-to-peer with Bitcoin until they turn the internet off, we're good to go there. So a lot of opportunities, guys. Okay. But you got to take advantage of them. You can't just sit back and wait and, think that everything is going to be all peaches and cream, because I'm just telling you with what they're doing. I'm not here to try to be fearmonger. You get enough of that from all the mainstream media nonsense. You got to get prepared. Okay. Got to be like Boy Scout motto, be prepared. Be prepared. What happens if you can't go to the grocery store for a week? What are you going to do? Right? What happens if you can't close deals? What are you going to do? Right? Through no fault of your own, because title companies, courthouses, et cetera, are shut down. Okay. What are you going to do? You better be thinking about this stuff. Okay. Because I certainly am and have been. And that's why I've been preparing through this whole thing. I told you guys this. If you guys go back far enough, for those of you who've been following me, I told you guys back in April, when this thing first started, that what they were going to do when they did that first initial stimulus check nonsense was that they were going to get, all the sheep out there. They're going to give them a stimulus check. They were going to do the unemployment deal. They were going to let these people get their tax return money back in, let everybody get comfortable over the summer, right? And into the basically the last quarter of the year. I thought it was going to be October. I honestly thought it was going to be October, but I forgot about I wasn't thinking about the election at that point. But last quarter of the year, they're going to come back and they're going to pull the rug out. All right. And that's exactly what they're talking about doing right now. So they're talking about more lockdowns and, and let me just tell you something, guys, okay? Average COVID cases, hospitalizations rise in nearly every state across the U.S., according to CNBC. Total nonsense, okay? If you don't believe it, go down to the damn hospital. Go down there and look for yourself and see. When I go to Lowe's here in Orlando, I have to drive past 2 of them. And guess what? They're always empty, okay? They're not overloaded with like people coming in. Have you guys gone? I haven't been out there. I haven't seen anybody like falling out because of the coronavirus, right? When I go to Publix or when I go any other place, you don't see people falling out in the parking lot or, collapsing in the grocery aisle. Okay, it's total nonsense. Okay, so understand it for what it is. Okay, you're about to witness the greatest wealth transfer in human history, and it's not to you; it's from you. So you need to get prepared. Again, that's why you got to be focused right now on making money, multiple streams of income, multiple streams of internet income, and streams that will survive a lockdown. And I hate to even say this, but and an extended lockdown. Okay. Because the good news is for the medical commodity business that all the essential places are places that we have the ability to pick up product, okay? Because they don't close down the pharmacies. So absolutely fantastic. Didn't have to worry about it last time. I didn't have to worry about getting hassled or harassed or have my couriers hassled or harassed to go pick product up from sellers that we were buying from, because any place that they would go would be an essential business that would be open and they would have a reason to be there. So beautiful aspect of that. So anyway, hope this helps. If it is, like I said, thumbs up, likes, hearts, whatever all that stuff is. I don't know what it does, but maybe somebody can tell me. Somebody that's smarter than me can tell me what happens when you're on a Facebook Live and you get likes and hearts. What does that do? Does anybody know? I have no idea. I don't know what it's supposed to do. It's not paying me, so I don't know, man. I don't know. Does it do something to the algorithm? Make more people see it? Hopefully that's the case. But anyway, you guys have a great day.